Over the years, I've built a lot of Ninjago mocks from the ONI Trilogy, and today I made a gigantic compilation of all my Ninjago ONI Trilogy mocks. Let's dive into these mocks and go through them in chronological order, starting with the Sons of Garmadon prison. And now it's time to build the scene from Ninjago, where Cole is locked up in the Sons of Garmadon headquarters, and two of the Sons of Garmadon thugs walk past holding a mysterious box with something inside. I built another Sons of Garmadon thug and made a little box. I wonder why there's crying from inside this box. Then I placed him down on this tiled off cobblestone walkway and placed down some prison doors and made walls going up either side. This way Cole cannot escape from the prison. Getting closer to the street level, I placed down some nougat arches to finish off the underground area of this build. Above it, I stacked some bricks up and laid it down as a road. Then I slid in some street lines and finally made a map of the subway system underground, using rubber band pieces to indicate where the subway goes. Now this two-story display is complete. I love how you have a street view, and then beneath it you've got the underground Sons of Garmadon base with Cole behind bars. Moving on through the Sons of Garmadon base, we come to the room where Zane first meets Kilo. I started by building up the floor of the sewer. I wanted to give it enough room so you could stick these little lights in I found on Amazon, and now the vent lights up and gives a more atmospheric feel. I built up two walls, one of which I used a cool technique where I built brick pieces and then placed tiles on top of it, so they're both different layers. And since it was a sewer, I covered the top and placed a road down with a lampstand and a fire hydrant, and added in 3 more lights to the top. Down beneath, I added some details to make it more sewer-like. I got a couple Sons of Garmadons and Snake Jaguar, and then finally placed down Kilo. This diorama is really amazing. I'm going to give this diorama an 8 out of 10, and I love how much these lights add to it. Now it's time to make the Oni Temple, where Lloyd and Harumi find the Mask of Hatred. We'll start over here with the riverboat, a pretty simple build. I put an engine on the back, a little compass on the front, and a steering wheel to guide the boat wherever it goes. Very nice addition to this whole Oni Temple set. Then we'll move on to the kind of jungle opening of the cave. There's some swamp water down beneath. If we go up these little steps here, we find ourselves at this huge cave opening with a massive amount of teeth. And then down beneath there is a skeleton holding a blue crystal. Could technically be the realm crystal if you want, I don't know. We have a bunch of rock pillars sticking up that Lloyd and Harumi have to jump across before they fall down. Then we finally get to probably the biggest section here, and this is where the mask is seated. But if you take it off the stand, we're gonna come around back and put it on this other minifigure back here. Then we can put Harumi standing on that rock pillar, grab the pillar that the mask has been on, and do a quick turn with it, and she turns into what she looks like with the mask on. So I had a little bit of room to build something here. So what I did is I made some like runes on the wall, and then a barrel with some scrolls. I also made a smaller, more detailed scene with Lloyd and Harumi fighting over the Mask of Hatred. I used a lot of dark gray pieces. I was actually able to make a pentagon shape to go in the middle. I also made the pedestal with some blue flames shooting up. I made this display circular in shape by adding 4 rounded segments to the different sides of this build. Then I added golden detailing to this gray platform and placed down Lloyd holding a knife for defense. But knife in a face-off with stone is probably not the best idea. This is such a dramatic scene from the show, and I'm very pleased with how it turned out. But sadly, Garmadon is awoken and the Sons of Garmadon take over Ninjago City. I simulated this by getting my Ninjago City markets and filling it with Sons of Garmadon thugs. We've got 3 motorcycles ranging from super tiny to bigger than a car. We also have a bunch of Sons of Garmadon thugs, including Mr. E, Ultraviolet, Harumi, and Garmadon himself. For our heroes, we sadly only have Nia and Lloyd to protect this city. Oh, and Derek with his specialty. This time around, I want to make this city look destroyed and messed up. I started by taking every single flower in Ninjago City off. Here's an image of before, here's an image of after. Then I went along and ripped off all the bright, colorful signs. I also added some red flags that I made to theme it more like Sons of Garmadon. I added some dead plants and fallen down rubble. To make the city even more messy, I scattered around a bunch of different crates For the Borg store, I blocked out the windows with these banner pieces. And I ripped the top of the building off so that we could place Harumi and Garmadon standing on top of it. We've got Gale, Gossip, and Vinny reporting the news. I also placed on all three of these fast-looking motorcycles. And along the monorail, I placed Oni masked Mr. E chasing Lloyd down. And Nia is trying not to get caught by hiding. Now we have a totally ruined Ninjago City overrun by the Sons of Garmadon. Lloyd and Nia are in grave danger. The Sons of Garmadon are ruining Ninjago City. All hope seems lost for Ninjago, but Lloyd and Nia aren't gonna give up. The resistance never quits. In Hunted, Lloyd and some of the Elemental Masters sneak into Borg Tower to broadcast to all of Ninjago City that the resistance will rise up and stand to face Garmadon to the bitter end. It's one of my favorite moments from Hunted, and it's time to recreate this studio building out of Lego bricks. I built the base with some pipes and detailing, then I built up 2 light gray walls, but in the show, Ultraviolet has vandalized the walls by spray painting all over them. So it's time for me to get out some colorful bricks and spray paint all over these walls. The designs were really fun to make using a lot of different tiles, and I placed these wall panels on the walls. For detailing on the floor, we got some spray paint cans and a computer system to broadcast the show. I went to my computer and made some stickers, printed them out, and placed them on the computer screens. 2 of them were for Ultraviolet's show that was no longer on air, and one of them was Lloyd being filmed by Ash, which I placed down holding a camera. I also placed down Lloyd by the wall, I put Skylar in this scene, and Griffin Turner. I also made Ultraviolet held captive with this rubber band, and finally placed down Nero with a microphone. From the computers, I got a whip piece that looks like a cord going up to 2 large studio lights I added above. Now the Resistance can record their inspiring message and send it all throughout Ninjago City, inspiring people to stand up against evil. Now moving from Ninjago City, we're going to travel to the realm of the Dragon and Oni and make the Wind Dragon. So here we have it, guys, the Wind Dragon Attack Mock. We have a total of 5 characters in this mock: Heavy Metal, Kid Woo, Rocky Danger Buff, and Jay and Zane in their Hunted outfits. For a side build over here, we have a bait tower. This is where they tie the ninjas up and electrocute them to get the dragon's attention so that the dragon will fly in and they can catch the dragon, hopefully before he eats all the ninjas up. Then we have this Wind Dragon. This is a very, very skinny, slim, Chinese-esque dragon. It comes out to probably a little over a foot. I think this dragon is actually smaller than the Stormbringer. In order to make the head, I used some of those new claw pieces in gold, and then I used the eye from the Ultra Dragon. And then it has 2 little thrust wing thingies on the back that you can rotate any direction that you want. For the underbelly of this dragon, I chose teal, and it adds this good contrast with the white and gold. So I'm proud to say I like this dragon better than the Stormbringer dragon, but if it comes down to it, does it really beat that? But back in Ninjago City, after Garmadon has been brought back, he uses his power to create a massive stone-built Titan that walks through Ninjago City, destroys buildings, and almost squishes Lloyd and Nia and crushes Dareth in the battle wagon. And the Lego set they made a couple years ago did not do it justice. We are going to make this massive. Of course, we need to start with Technic, one of the strongest ways to build with Lego. I started by figuring out where I wanted to place the legs and arms and what dimensions this needed to have. For this Titan's belly, I made a unique octagonal shape with bricks going up and ball and socket joints that I could later stick on big chunks of rock. On top of his belly, I built up the big chest area using a lot of Technic pins to make this thing incredibly strong. Now the legs and arms of this are going to be extremely heavy, so we need very strong joints to connect them to. My first attempt was putting this axle coming out of the hip with a lot of gears coming around it to make it extremely strong. But when I started building the leg, it definitely wasn't strong enough, and we needed to rip it apart and start over. This time I got 3 AT-AT joints per leg. This will be a very strong connection, I hope. After working on the legs for a couple hours, it became very apparent to me that I needed a lot more dark gray rock pieces to be able to build this thing accurately. So as usual, I went to my computer and ordered about $70 worth of Lego pieces off Bricklink. When they showed up in the mail, I opened them up, and this is the haul I got. First, I got 100 dark gray, slope inverted 2x3. Next, we got 100 dark gray 4x4 wedge fractured polygon tops. And finally, I got 150 transparent purple 1x2 plates, and a couple other transparent purple pieces like dots, cheese wedges, and bricks. Now, we are ready to cover this thing in stone. The ONI Titan is very organic and has big rocks with purple energy in between the rocks. And to carry that into my Lego design, I started with a transparent purple outline and then built this rounded rock shape on top of it. I used 2 of these for the knees and made smaller ones up a little bit higher for the thighs. I also added olive green bricks to make it look mossy on top of these rocks. I used a lot of sideways building techniques which really strengthen these legs. I added some light gray bricks into the mix. I also built some armor plating coming down the sides and the front of his hips. I made some cool dark green designs on the plating, and once I was done, clicked them on using Technic. Now that the legs were mainly done, it was time to move on to the feet. And if I didn't get the feet right, this whole thing would be very unstable and very easy to fall over. I started by using 4 80-80 joints per ankle joint. And then I built a massively durable Technic structure. For the toes, I used 3 of these big rock pieces, added some purple highlights around, and used these giant rock pieces for the sides of the feet. This Titan seriously has some massive sneakers on. Now that we have the legs done, this thing looks a little bit strange and seriously needs to do some workouts to get the gains. I built some rock structures jutting out of the hips and covered the tops with moss. I added in some sand green and lime green pieces to make the colors pop. I made some giant chunks of rock with transparent purple fusing in between them and clicked them onto the ball and socket joints. I had to mess around with them for quite a while to make all these chunks of rocks fit together very seamlessly, but the end result looks very good. For the big chest segments, I used 2 of these transparent purple waterfall pieces. I built up around them using a lot of inverted curved slopes. I added these giant olive green disc pieces for some more moss, and then built another rock segment going up even further. I made 2 of these rock pieces and stuck them onto the chest. Now we need a segment going up the middle. We decided that this thing needs a heart. Ta-da! I got a transparent glass window frame and added a couple variants of purples and blue. Then I built some more dark gray and light gray rock around it, and finally topped it off with some more foliage. Now this Titan is looking seriously swole. The head of this ONI Titan was going to be a challenge. I got one of these massive gear turntables and added some smaller gears for friction on the side. Now this head will be able to swivel back and forth. The hat was going to be pretty massive. In the show, this ONI Titan has almost a Sensei Wu looking hat. So it's basically a big disc that I have to make. And I have these big dark gray quarter circle pieces I used for the fin of my UCS Garma Mecha Man. But I only had 2 and I needed 4 for this one. So I ordered 2 more and was able to make this very cool looking hat. I added some rock pieces on the top and stuck it on the head. But once I was done looking at this mech, you can definitely tell the neck is way too far up and needs to be sunk down into the body, which was going to be a challenge because I built this thing so strong. But after a lot of finicking with it, I was able to lower the head down into the body. It has a gaping purple mouth, which I made by using these tall transparent purple pieces. I used transparent purple inverted round tiles in front of white elements to make them pop a little bit more. I also used bananas for the eyebrows and gray sausages around the nose. This head honestly looks pretty fantastic. For the arms, I got 4 click joints and lined them up. Then I stuck a Technic bracket to that and built out a strong structure using 3 80-80 joints. I built arms similar to the legs with transparent purple, light gray and dark gray pieces dispersed throughout, but the final look is epic. And for the shoulders, I used these flat 3x3 slope pieces. Now the hands for this thing have to be about the size of my hands because they are massive. For the hands, I started with a 10x10 plate and built up from there. I added 4 Technic ball and socket joints along the front for fingers, and on the top, placed a big light gray rock. The fingers are kind of big and chubby, but they kind of have to be for the size of this mock. After satisfyingly clicking them all on, this hand was actually about the same size as mine, and I could really shake the ONI Titan's hand. Then I just had to build a whole nother one, and this right here is as many pieces as just the hand has. This thing has a lot of pieces. Added some big rock pieces to the shoulders to finish it off a bit more. On the right arm, I built out a big tree with green leaves to represent the one from the show. And now all I had to do was build up the back. I got a bunch of my remaining big rock pieces and started fitting them together in a unique way. I also built a walkway going all the way up to the back, so the minifigure can jump all the way up to the shoulders. After adding on the last couple details, this ONI Titan was complete and it looks majestic. It weighs approximately 10 pounds and is about 26 inches tall and 15 inches from shoulder to shoulder. The transparent purple really contrasts the dark and light gray very well, and I love the highlights of sand green dispersed throughout it. But to make this thing look even more majestic, we're going to compare it to the original one. This ONI Titan is definitely nothing special, and actually seeing it in person makes me see how small it really is. And compared to the ONI Titan, wow. Here it is standing right next to the ONI Titan. It literally looks like the ONI Titan had a child. And it's like a toddler, barely able to walk. Here is the arm right next to the actual ONI Titan arm. Here's the head right next to the ONI Titan head. Like, this is absolutely hilarious. And the tree is also way smaller than my tree. This small ONI Titan can literally sit on the head. Now to give you a couple more things to scale this ONI Titan with, this is the ONI Titan by the wheel of a car. Here the ONI Titan is beside Meowthra, which I really don't think can take it down. Here the ONI Titan is right beside the original Ninjago city, which is honestly pretty big, but the ONI Titan could literally tear it apart. Here the ONI Titan is standing beside me, looking like my child or something. No. That's definitely not. I don't read him lullabies. I don't sing him to bed at night. I don't. Why would I do that? That'd be weird. And here the ONI Titan is compared to a toilet, which I'm sure all of you were wondering what that was like. You could drink out of it. No. Now it's time to simulate some epic recreations of what happens in the show, starting with the destruction of the city. We built up a bunch of Lego buildings and may or may not have poured our heart and soul into them. Some of these honestly look pretty cool. Now we have to set them up on the table, grab the ONI Titan, and he can just throw them around, destroying the city of Ninjago. People are screaming, Garmadon is laughing, and I am crying seeing my beautiful city get destroyed. The ONI Titan has truly conquered Ninjago. For the second simulation, this is where the ONI Titan almost crushes the battle wagon, and I want to recreate this. This is an awesome tank machine that needed drives through Ninjago City, and it was such a missed opportunity for Lego. I'm not actually going to build it because I have a big project going on right now, but my brother is going to build it for me. Let's give him a call.
Hello?
Could you please build me the battle wagon from season 9?
Yo, I don't have any Lego here at college.
Oh, bro. You know what? That's fine. You'll figure out a way to work around it. You don't really need Lego to be able to... Okay, well, I'm hanging up. Well, that's probably not going to work out, but we'll see if he has any ideas.
I don't have any Lego bricks at college, but on my computer, I have the Lego Studio app. I want to have this thing planned out before I get home and start building it with my bricks. So I'm done with the final product. School's wrapping up and I'm about ready to head home. Hey!
Oh, what's up, bro?
I need you to build me some minifigures for the battle wagon. I'm on my way home.
Wait, you want me to work on the minifigures? Hello? I guess we're making the minifigures for the battle wagon now. Let's get into it. Our first minifigure here is going to be Lloyd. This is Hunted Lloyd in his awesome costume, and honestly, one of my favorite Lloyd costumes. But there's one major problem with this character, and it's that he has green eyes. In the show, Lloyd loses his power at the ends of Sons of Garmadon, and now he has generic eyes like every other Lego minifigure. So we're gonna get my Posca pens out and try to paint his eyes black. After half an hour of working on it, we finally got a good-looking Lloyd with normal eyes. Now we can give him his classic ninja sword, and he's done. We also definitely need to make Nia in her hunted costume, another solid outfit, and I really like this Nia character. We're also gonna put Dareth in this mock because Dareth. That's probably the reason it's such a good season. We're gonna give him a little cup of tea. And yeah, this is a cup of tea that gives him his brown powers. I'm sorry I added it, but I feel like it needs to be there. We're also going to add 2 Sons of Garmadon thugs, one of which is going to be dressed up in a police officer costume, and we're gonna give him a big bat. The other one is a pretty generic Sons of Garmadon character.
Hey,
Oh, you're back!
let's get to work. The Battle Wagon is this chunky metal tank. So the main color for this set was dark gray, kind of giving it that nice junky rundown look. This set has a lot of greebles on it, a lot of different vents and just pipes going every which way. I attached the crawler tracks to the outside with these gear pieces. The 106 tiny little track pieces make the tracks on this beast of a tank. When I designed this thing, I put like an orange canopy on it. I thought it was how it looked. And then I watched the episode and I was like, that is not at all what it looks like. So I adjusted my model and I made it a lot cooler with kind of these rails going down. One of the most distinctive features of the Battle Wagon is the massive bumper on the front with a bunch of headlights on it and a grill guard. And it just looks menacing and imposing and epic. To design it, I used a couple curved pieces on the edges to make it come around nicely towards the crawler tracks. In order to make the back panel of the Battle Wagon tilted in, I used mixel joints, clips, and math to give it that nice angle. I put a door on the back big enough to fit Dareth so the ninjas can get easily in and out. For the interior, I built a little cockpit area where Nia's got this nice comfy chair and an epic steering wheel. Further back, we have a little sigh. There's a little dumpster in the back that has some newspapers in it that the ninjas can use to load these cool cannons with. And these little cannons can aim in every direction that the ninjas could need them to. I don't know how much help they're gonna be in fighting the ONI Titan, but they can give it a shot. And then, to cover it all up, I made this lid part that's basically just the roof. But I actually designed it upside down. It's got some more caging going around the edge, and it comes down to the front cockpit area where it slopes down to the front bumper. I used some burnt orange pieces to give the Battle Wagon just that nice little rusty color. Now it's complete. And since Landon built me a couple Sons of Garmadon thugs, they need a bike. Let's build it. I wanted to make the bike as small as I possibly could, so I used these techniques to get just the right shape and size. It's got some nice purple detailing in front of the visor. It's got some handlebars for the thug to drive with. Now it's complete, and I hope you guys are happy with this mock.
Deep in the streets of ruined Ninjago, Dareth is trying to outrun the Sons of Garmadon, but he's not fast enough. Ha ha ha! Give me back my tea! Now Dareth is handcuffed and needs your help. Build the ultimate battle wagon, put Lloyd inside, ready to man the guns, place Nia in the cockpit, and drive into battle. Nothing can stand in the way of the battle wagon, with its massive grill guard and its firing newspaper cannons. The Sons of Garmadon run in terror as the ninjas save Dareth and his special tea. This battle wagon set includes 5 minifigures: Lloyd, Nia, Dareth, and 2 Sons of Garmadon thugs. Now the ninja can ride through Ninjago City and save other innocent civilians. But wait, what is that sound? Drive! And all of a sudden, their battle wagon comes to a stop as the ONI Titan puts his foot down on it, almost crushing this battle wagon. Oh no. Oh my goodness. It actually, okay, Lloyd, Dareth, not what happens in the show. I'm sorry, but the ONI Titan is a little bit too heavy. He's got to lay off on that ramen. Ninjago City is destroyed. Dareth and a couple ninja are smushed. But suddenly, the Firstborn appears through a portal and starts flying straight towards the ONI Titan. I remember how much work I put into this ONI Titan and hoped with all my heart that it wouldn't get destroyed, but the outcome was devastating. As the dragon hit the ONI Titan, it started falling and fell off my table and shattered into 10,000 pieces. My heart was torn in two over this precious ONI Titan. The ONI Titan might be destroyed, but Garmadon is not, and it's time for Wu and Lloyd to take on Garmadon on top of Borg Tower. Let's build this final battle diorama. I started by placing in some Technic brackets so that the main base where I'm going to have my character standing is tipped a little bit. Then I started building up around that unique shape that the top of Borg Tower has. The main color palette I used here was dark gray. I added a lot of light gray pipes and greebling around the place. I used these long light gray poles so that the rebar was exposed. Then built Hunted, Lloyd, and Garmadon. Finally, I placed these 3 minifigures on the platform and they were ready to fight. I think this broken Borg Tower diorama looks very accurate to this show, and I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It's definitely one of the biggest dioramas I made for this series so far. We also have one diorama from the March of the Oni mini-series. And we're going to rebuild one of the creepiest scenes from all of Ninjago, and this is where Lloyd and Garmadon go down into the basement of Borg Tower to try to find the golden armor to stop the Oni. I built the floor using dark gray plates and added some transparent red detailing to the floor too. In the middle, we have a pedestal with a realm crystal on it. I built 2 walls to enclose this room, and in each wall I added these big industrial looking doors. To finish the room up, I got some cloths in a couple different shapes to make it look like that black smoke that is infusing the room. I also got some string and wrapped it around the pedestal. I even used black whips as detail. Next, I placed down Lloyd and Garmadon, and finally the Omega, which I gave a custom staff to. This scene looks just about as scary as a scene from the show, and it definitely gives me creepy vibes. Again, I'm going to have to give this diorama a 9 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching my Oni Trilogy mocks. Comment down below what your favorite mock is. Peace out.